Hello, and welcome to our show, Latinos in Motion. Today, we'll be having an up-close and personal interview with Bobby, the Lordside G. Bobby, the Lordside G, welcome to our show. It's a pleasure to have you today.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Can you have a seat?
All right.
So, Bobby, we had a poll, and your viewers, your fans, they want to know a couple of things about you. So that's why we're having this up-close and personal interview today.
Cool.
One of the questions is your name, the Lordside G.
Right.
Where did that come from?
Well, that came from growing up, of course, in the barrio, in the hood, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of times, you know, in every barrio, in every hood, there's always usually a side or a certain name of a gang. You know, and I figured in my town, personally, you know, we had the east side and we had the west side. And when I got saved, I came up with, like, the Lordside. And I wanted my music to portray that for the listeners to know that they can be on the Lord's side because God's in every hood.
So, Bobby, one more question. Well, actually, we have several questions for you. I hope we have time for them all. But this one's actually of a serious matter. It has more to do with your testimony.
All right.
Audience wants to know, how did Bobby, the Lordside G, get saved?
Well, it's a long story, but in a nutshell, you know, I basically gave my life to the Lord at an early age. You know, I have a little brother that actually, you know, had taken some of my drugs, some of my downers of barbiturates, you know, and of course he had OD'd.
Oh my gosh.
And I had prayed out and called out to the Lord to ask him, you know, please don't let my brother die off of my drug, you know. I mean, that's a horrible feeling of knowing, you know, you could take your own brother out from the drugs, you know.
If you don't mind me asking, how old was your brother at the time and how old were you?
Probably like 13, 14 years old, you know. We started off early. You know,
and how old were you? Or was your brother 13 or were you 13?
Yeah, he was about 13.
And then you were?
About 14.
Oh, so you guys were a year apart.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So, what happened?
Well, he had Gunz convulsions, and I had tried to wake him up, and I remember my father saying, you know, my mom's going to come home early, and that we were going to go the whole family out to dinner, you know what I mean, and I remember trying to wake him up, and he was shaking, his eyes were going back into convulsions, you know, his whole eyes were shaking back and forth, and I asked him, what are you doing, what'd you do, you know what I mean, he said, well, I took some of your drugs. I said, how many you take? I mean, you know, like, how many do you take?
How many did he take?
Well, at first he said like 3 or 4, and then he started doing 7 and 10.
Oh my God.
And I knew it was serious, and I remember my dad finally came home, and back in the room and said, you know what, your mom's coming home in like 5 minutes, go get him up, because I wanted him to sleep.
Now, you knew what was going on. He was convulsing, and you knew why.
Yeah.
Your parents thought he was just sleeping.
Right.
What was going through your head?
I hope he can sleep off this drug. That's what I was hoping, you know what I mean?
So what happened?
Finally my mom came home, of course, and my dad came in the room and said, go get your brother, we're leaving now, you know, and I finally broke down, started crying, you know what I mean, and I told my dad, you know, we can't go to dinner, we're going to have to take him to the hospital, pump his stomach because he took some drugs.
Oh my God.
So they ran into the room and everybody was hysterical, and I remember being in the hospital and the ambulance came and everybody was there, and I just remember my mom just turned around and like they didn't, you know, just smacked me right in the mouth, you know.
Wow.
And you know, the cops were there and they were asking, you know, all the questions, and I was just scared, and I remember just saying, Lord, please don't let my brother die off of my drug, and I'll serve you, I promise I'll serve you. And of course, like the Lord does, he answered my prayer, you know what I mean? But like a hardhead, knucklehead, I mean, I got back into the street and doing all the dirt because he answered the prayer. And, you know, like when the waters start getting smooth and safely, you know, you just go back and tend to go to your evil ways again.
Would you say that this happens a lot where something tragic or traumatic happens to people and they're in a situation where like, oh God, please help me, and they turn to God at that moment?
Yeah.
And then once everything's fine, out of trouble,
exactly.
Then they just go back to their old routine. So you're not there now. I mean, obviously something else happened for you to change. What happened?
I actually met a pastor, and later on in life, I initially was raised in a little church in Santa Barbara, California, and it happens to be Katy Perry's father. You know what I mean? There's the singer. I don't know if you know.
Yes, I'm familiar with
Katy Perry, yeah.
California girls, yes.
Yes, Snoop Dogg or whatever. Yeah. And she used to sing at the church, but he was like an old biker guy. He had a long beard but powerful. And I remember going to that church, and we went to all the youth groups and everything like that. And I remember even my father was like an alcoholic. And I grew up in Alateen. I don't know if anybody's heard of Alateen, but it's for children that grew up with an alcoholic father, and I remember going to Alateen and doing all that stuff, programs that they teach you, to stop drinking. And one day he had come home and he kept slugging the mirror in the bathroom, the medicine cabinet, and kept saying, "Your mother doesn't love me no more, your mother doesn't love me." And blood was coming out of his hands, and there was all this blood on the floor. And I just remember going, man, just like any Latino family, we all have problems, and we grow up with difficulties, or a broken home or broken family. So at that moment, I was turning to gangs instead of the Lord, seeing all this trouble that goes on. But the Lord always had his hand on me and was always tugging at my heart, telling me, you know what, you're going to be mine. And I really didn't want, when you're young, you don't even understand what's going on. You know a little bit about good and right and evil and darkness or whatever, but it wasn't like I wanted to give myself fully to God at that time, at that moment in life. But later on, I moved from my town because I had gone to the courthouse where the judge had told me, if you see me in my courtroom one more time, I was going to do an automatic 5 years.
What is it, 5 years in prison?
Yeah.
Wow.
He said, I don't care what you're in my courtroom for. I don't care if you spit on the floor and someone ratted you out. If I see your face in my courtroom, I'm going to give you an automatic 5.
So did that shake you up and say, okay, yeah, Bobby, let's come on, you got to get your act together?
Yeah, it did. You know what I mean? Because I knew in my heart, I always had dreams about going to prison and what have you, but I knew in my heart that was never me, and I didn't want to live that life. I knew I could hang if I did it, and if somebody hurt my family or something like that, but it was in my heart of hearts. I had a good heart, and I didn't want to. It wasn't for me. I didn't want to be around a bunch of men. That ain't me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. So either you changed your ways, you changed your bad habits, whatever it is that you were doing at the time, or you go to prison.
Right.
So was that the turning point for you? Was that the point where you said,
it was, okay. But the only thing that I did, I put a Band-Aid on it, and I just bounced out. I moved to a different city, happened to be San Diego, California. I didn't even know where I was going. I just said, okay, I'm leaving. I remember my mom calling me and saying, we need you back home. We want to have you help us. We just got a new condo. And I remember when I went there, she told me the name of the city, and I couldn't believe it. I said, I hadn't even heard of this city. So I ended up moving. I remember having a pastor I worked with, and he kept asking me to come to church. And finally, I cussed him out. You know what I mean? Like,
you cussed out a pastor?
Yeah, I did. You know what I mean?
Did you get struck by lightning?
No, but I heard the Lord say behind the scenes, you're fighting someone that's bigger than him and my situation. And what he was basically saying, he said, when you were young, you gave me your life, and you either give me your life now or I'm going to take it. And I remember after I cussed him out and called him a hypocrite and did all that stuff, I was fighting the Lord, And he kept saying, come to church. And he just loved me. He didn't say nothing. He didn't argue back. He just kept loving me, He didn't say nothing. And I found myself in church the next day, on my knees like a little baby crying out saying, Lord, just forgive me. I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to, I'm tired of making a promise to you that I can't keep.
Well, watching your videos and your music and all the, like I said, positive message that you have especially for the Latino community that it deals with all these issues with drugs and violence and gangs and, all these things, all these obstacles and things that they have to deal with. That was what brought you up to the point where you started writing music. Now then you start writing music. Mm-hmm. Were your challenges over? Were you like, okay, you're writing music, now you're working for the Lord, you're promoting all these positive things. Was the fight over for you?
No, definitely not. It's never easy on this road. You know what I'm saying? It's like I always think about it this way. If I was rapping around the hood and rapping around gangs and rapping around about low riders, I'd probably, straight blow up and have all the things the enemy has to give you right at my fingertips. But I've been in a couple bad contracts. I was signed. I'm not going to say any names, but to a contract where they own you. They own your music, my name, you know what I mean? And I couldn't go out like that, you know what I mean? It's like they get all the money and then I would get nothing, you know what I mean? Or, I just recently got hit up to do a live TV reality show.
And how did that go?
Well, it was beautiful. No, it was beautiful, but he said, we'll make you famous just like the same person that put me up on game and stuff to do my music, but then they don't want to give you a dime. You know what I mean? And for you struggling rappers out there, just, be true to yourself. Be independent if you have to. You know what I mean? If you're going to get signed, make sure you don't get stuck with a bad contract because they're hard to get out and they're wolf in sheep's clothing, really. I mean, they want to put $20,000 or $100,000 in their pocket and then not give you a dime. And I just say, if you're going to eat steak and lobster, all I want is a burrito. Just give me a burrito.
You're making me hungry. I love burritos. What do you like in your burritos?
Everything, as long as they're salsa, you know what I'm saying?
Sounds good to me.
Gotta have some.
That sounds good to me. So, talking about your music, later on, we're going to take the audience into an actual live recording.
Behind the scenes?
Behind the scenes, yes.
All right.
And you're going to show us exactly how it is that you produce your music and take us and give us an insider's look.
Wow.
Into that.
And how the music's made.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that because I can't put a note together to save my life.
Cool.
Yeah. And also, before I forget, there is one video. God bless the ride.
I hope he does.
I hope so too. There's one of your videos, you put that out one last year?
Yes.
I really enjoyed that video, and actually we have it here on our screen.
All right.
So tell us about this video.
Right.
I really like it because I think it touches a lot of the Latino community.
Mm-hmm.
You have the music, and so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I just wanted to, I come up with a song in my head and I'll say, like, God bless, I want the Lord to bless the video. So later on, He'll inspire me to write a song on the video. So I started incorporating things like Dia de los Muertos and all. Her, Mayra, she did all the makeup.
She's,
you know what I mean? She's
fabulous job. She did a fantastic job with the. Good job, Mayra.
Yeah, no doubt. Kudos to Mayra and for doing the Dia de los Muertos faces on the hyenas, and of course I have a homeboy that his father plays the bongos and always wanted to do it, or the congas I should say, and he was playing on the video. We just have a fun time, just making the Lord bless the video. There was a little dog in the back that was just there on set, like all the alleyways, they have barbed wire and they have dogs behind the trash, and we just do it on the street corner, put some lolos up and get busy, have dancers, it's fun.
Yeah, I saw that. I really enjoyed watching that, especially since I love dance and salsa, and I saw we had some salsa dancers on there as well, so that was really nice. Now, do you have any upcoming projects, new videos for this 2013 year, 2014?
I have a few things in mind. I just know that it takes money and time, so be patient with me. I wish people were just helping me with this thing, but I'm independent. I do everything by myself, of course with the Lord and the Lord's help. But I have a song called 5 Minutes to Midnight, and it's I want this to be like 1920s, kind of like the Great Gatsby look, Cotton Club, and the old girls with the gloves and the Model T cars and the oldie look, like from the 20s.
Very nice. Now, have you gotten all your members for that video? Are you still looking for...
I'm always looking, if you guys want to get involved, I always post up something as to location and where I'll be. And if you guys show up, you're in the video. I got that love for my raza,
Okay, Bobby, Lordside G, where can your fans, the audience, go to so they can contact you? If, say, there's someone out there that would like to participate in your upcoming videos, how can they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me on my email. It's LordsideGangsta with an A at yahoo.com. If you want to order and download my music, they can go to cdbaby.com and artist search Lordside Gangster, and you can find me there.
So, Now we have the pleasure of watching how Bobby Lordside G works behind the scenes.
Hey, what's up? We're behind the scenes right now. We're about to head to my homeboy Dominators pad. And for those of you that don't know, now you're gonna know exactly how we make the music.
God bless the barrio, barrio. God bless the barrio, barrio. God bless.
So right now we just pulled up to the homie's house right now, and we're gonna see it, check him out, and see if he's home. Get the stone cracking. Alright.
What's up, my boy? Come in, let me show you how you make real music.
Happening in the barrio today, and it's getting so crazy, homes, and it makes me sick, yeah. All the robbing and stealing, mean mugging and killing, and all them drive-bys, homes, and acting like a villain.
Michael Jackson, when he was actually here on trial before he passed away, Dom actually took the time to have some of his albums while he was in trial here in Santa Maria, California. And some of those autographs are authentic autographs from the man, the myth, the legendary Michael Jackson. Before he passed away, those are his autographs. He actually got Michael Jackson to sign his albums while he was here. A lot of people ask me how I get my music done, and normally I get inspired with, maybe I start with a hook. And music, for those of you that don't know, it's actually like a puzzle. We're gonna see how Dominator creates his music in production behind the scenes with his talent, because he's a real producer. And if you're an artist out there that does R&B or any kind of Chicano rap, get at this dude, because he's cool people and he has reasonable prices. He's down to earth. So get at him. What's up? What's cracking, Dominator?
Yeah, we're just getting ready to throw this beat down. Whatever ideas he gives me, we just try to bring them to life and get it cracking right here. Waiting for the computer to load up. We're going to be using Fruity Loops today. I don't usually just stick to one way of making beats. I usually, however I get inspired, sometimes I'll do live instruments, sometimes I'll do digital instruments. Like, I don't always use Fruity Loops. Sometimes I'll just put a drum track on the machine right here on the 1880, and then just play live keyboards on top of that. But right now we want to work kind of quickly. We don't want to be taking 3 weeks to finish a beat off. We want to try to get something cracking like within the next half hour to an hour or so. So I like to use Fruity Loops because it works pretty quick.
Oh, we've also got my homeboy, my primo, which is my DJ. His name is DJ T Smooth in the house. Right now, I got something in my head that just came inspired like right today.
What is it?
Hot off the rack. It's a kind
Let's hear it.
It goes, if God said it, then it shall be done. And if God said it, it shall be done.
Is it a good tempo?
If God said it, shall be done.
Good.
If God said it, then it shall be done. And that's all I do, man. I give Dominator a hook on how I want the song to be, and he takes it from there and does his thing. If God said it, then it shall be done.
Okay, I got it. Cool.
So in your head, Dominator, are you feeling like something from the 80s, old school Michael Jackson? Are you feeling something funky like disco? Are you feeling something cameo-ish? Or when you get inspired at a certain speed? Or
You mean with this song or just period?
With this song, period. Like right now, just coming up at the wing.
I think we could do some kind of like
Justin Timberlake sort of?
I think we could do something like Bruno Mars meets Cameo.
Right. Perfect. Good description, bro. So tell them what you're doing. Are you finding drums for this?
Oh yeah, we're gonna put our own little digital drum set together since we don't have a drummer here to play. We're just gonna find the right sounds and then get a drum pattern going, and then hopefully, if we're not happy with the drum, we get a nice pattern going. If we're not happy with the actual sounds, we can replace them until we find sounds that are sick.
It's all easy.
The important thing is when you're making music and you come up with a good hook that the producer's feeling what you're working with, so he knows where to go with it, basically. Is what
Yeah,
I'm
the
trying to
cool
say.
thing about it is that I already liked it. As soon as I heard it, I already...
Oh, now he's putting a little effect on it that actually echoes out, and which brings you the real pure funk, like something that Al DeBarge would come up with, or again Bruno Mars, or Justin Timberlake, or Michael Jackson. So now he's gonna raise the tempo to give it a more dance beat. Like my homeboy Brown Hood said, so the minute he heard this, he wanted to grab a girl and ask her to dance.
How's that feel?
That's kind of funny.
Will it still work?
So actually now he's like actually juicing it up with the keys to give you that funk element to make the song happen. But as me and my homeboy DJ T Smooth were talking, sometimes there's a lot of music that inspires you that you actually think about in other music and say, hey, doesn't that sound like that one song? And I think that's the beauty of music, is once you make that happen and it feels like you can sing it forever, that's what's so catchy, and it makes you, the listener, want to buy it and listen to it. And that's what creating music is all about.
So we got the beat cracking. Lordside's pretty happy with what he got, and hopefully he'll come back with something really good. I know he will.
All right, basically now what we're doing is Dominators actually created the beat for something for me to write to. So as far as the lyrics go and the inspiration, I have the hook, the chorus, which is if God said it, then if Jesus said it, then it shall be done. So I'll take that chorus as my meat to create the verse around what I wanted to spit to convey to you. So when I come up with that, I'll come up with a pattern of how I want the rap to go, like, and then I'll take that and I'll try to fit in those words on how I want the rap to come about. I'll then spit into the microphone when I bring my paper back and it's written down on what I wanted to say, and Dominator will record me and I can hear him through this machine that he's using, and then I'll have to actually call Deuce It, which I spit my whole line right on top of the first line that I said, and then on the third track he can then add the ad-libs on my backups, which is then ad-libs are backups on things that you want to say to back it up after I've deuced it twice and spit my lyrics. This song in particular is gonna get done. We just created it on the fly today as I got to the studio because I didn't know what I wanted to work on. But this song's gonna come about, and I just want to give you a little taste on how the music gets done. He'll then record it, and then he'll do the mix down once we're done. And I've written my 2 or 3 16 to 18 bars that I'll do for the actual song, whether I want 2 verses or whether I want 3. So after I get that done and know what I wanted to spit, I'll then come in the vocal booth where we're at now. I'll spit my line into the mic and then begin to do it twice after I've already spit it once. It's called deucing. So you actually spit your line on top of it to give the thickness of coming real and giving it heart. And that's it. We're wrapping it up now. It's a wrap. This is the Lordside G. I'm just showing you how we get music done for those of you that want to know how to do music and how we do it here in the 805 in Dominator Studio. Peace out.
So, Lordside G, any last words to your fans?
I just like to say thank you for your support over the years, for being by my side, for loving and appreciate my music. I'd like to give a special shout out and thanks to my producer, of course, Dominator. My DJ is also my primo, DJ T Smooth, and Creeps for behind the scenes and the camera, and all those that support me and love me. I pray a special prayer on you, and may you continue to ride and go forward in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, and that you remain on the Lord's side forever until we meet again.
Well, there you go. That is our intimate, up close and personal interview with the Lordside G. My name is Sochi Rodriguez, and this is Latinos in Motion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so thank you.
God bless.
God bless you.
God bless.
God bless.